Good morning, students. So let's start with the remaining applications of DBMS. In the previous lecture, we have studied different applications of DBMS, like we use DBMS in railway reservation system, airline reservation system, library management system, banking, universities, colleges, social media sites, telecommunications. So the next application of DBMS is finance and military. So as students, I have told you that we nowadays we are using DBMS in each and every industry. So we also use DBMS in case of finance. So how we use DBMS in finance? So nowadays people are maintaining databases to keep the records of all the finance related information, and how when any person perform any transaction, how that database affects according to transaction. Even if there is not sufficient balance in someone's account, then person how will not be able to withdraw the money, how the system generates message that there is insufficient balance in your account. So these all are the applications of DBMS, and this is just because of DBMS. So that's why people are moving to this new technology. Next is military. You know that military has to keep millions of records of soldiers and millions of files. They have to keep the record of all the files. And the very important factor in case of military is they have very important data, and it is very important for them to keep the data secure and safe. So if they use normal file system or traditional file system, so in that case it is not easy to secure the data or to keep the files in safe mode. So DBMS provides us facility that they can keep the records, and they can easily maintain the records and keep the records safe by applying passwords and usernames. So DBMS also provides a big security assurance to the military information. So it is most widely used in case of military areas. And if anyone wants to search any information regarding any person, any country, or any of the camp, anything related to anyone, so they can easily get the data from the database without spending lot of time. So students, with this we have completed applications of DBMS. So where we have studied that how we can use DBMS in different fields and how it is providing advantage in every field. So that was all about applications of DBMS. Now let's move to next topic of this unit, that is advantages of DBMS. So what are the advantages of DBMS? Why people are using DBMS? What is the use that why we are switching to these new technologies? So in this topic, we will study all the advantages of DBMS. So let's start with the very first and very important advantage of DBMS is reducing data redundancy. So what is data redundancy? Here I want to explain you in a very simple way that redundancy means duplicacy. Redundancy is duplicacy. So the very important advantage of DBMS is it eliminates duplicacy. So how it eliminates duplicacy? Now I want to give you one real life example. For example, we have maintained the record of a student in by using traditional file system, and we have stored the record of a student in multiple files. Like we are let's suppose we are working in this college, and we have one teaching department, we have one administration department, and we have another department which is related to financial transactions like fees department. So let's suppose we have three departments in a college, and we every department is maintaining record of a student in its own file. So let's suppose that student has paid the fees, and the fees department has updated their record, but the record in administration and the record in teachers record, it remains unchanged. They forget to update the recorder due to some reason. So how the data is accurate now, because in one record it is showing that the student has paid the fees, but in another record it is showing that the fees is due, the fees is not paid yet. So this is redundancy, this is inconsistency, and this is again a problem which creates a problem. So with the advent of DBMS, with the advent of database management system, we have overcome this problem, that is duplication. Now how we have overcome this problem? So if we are using DBMS, we are storing the record of a student at a single place only. So whenever we have to make any change, we have to update the data at a single location only. So there will be no chance of any inconsistency or any duplicacy, or you can say there is no chance that the record remain unleft with the uh, addition or the deletion of any of the record. So this is how we can reduce data redundancy to a greater extent. See, there is one more thing, we cannot reduce data redundancy fully, but we can reduce data redundancy to a greater extent. So this is one of the advantage of DBMS, that it eliminates duplicacy of data. Next advantage of DBMS is sharing of data. Now what is sharing of data? Sharing of data means, for example, I have a record and I have to share that record with multiple people, with multiple users. Then how I can share? If I have a record if I have a record of all the students in a single file, then it is very easy for anyone to share that file with multiple users and to even update the data, to modify the data. So sharing of data is just another advantage of DBMS. The users of the database can share the data easily among themselves. So there are even various levels of authorizations are also available, that for example, I want to give authority to someone that you can access the file or you can share the file. Now it is up to me that whatever access I want to, so it is up to the user that whatever access they want to give to the another user, like whether they want to give only sharing access, whether they want to give update access, so it is up to the user. So here I want to give one real life example. For example, when we access any website, so for example, we are accessing Amazon website. So they have not given any authority that we can update their website. We can only access the website. We can only view their products and we can place orders only. But we cannot change the rates of any product. We cannot change the or modify the description of any product. We do not have any authority. So it is up to the user. They can share data with another users with the different types of authorities also. So one more advantage of sharing of data is many remote users can also access the database simultaneously. So this is the real life example that I am making this video and you people are watching this video. This is again one more example of sharing of data. So this is another advantage of DBMS. Next advantage of DBMS is data integrity. So what is integrity? Integrity means correctness of the data, accuracy of the data. So whenever we access data and whenever we deal with data, it is very important that data must be in accurate form and data must be in consistent form. Otherwise, we cannot be able to draw any conclusions. So you know that students data is what? Data is collection of raw facts and figures. And how we can generate information? We can process the data to generate information. So if the data is not consistent, if the data is inconsistent, that is if it is not accurate, then how we can generate correct results and correct reports? So it is very necessary and the foremost step to ensure that the data must be correct and consistent in all the aspects. And another factor is data must be complete. Otherwise we will not be able to draw conclusions and to maintain database. So here I also want to discuss one real life example of data integrity. For example, when you go to the bank to open a new account, so if you provide some wrong details like your Aadhaar card, then how your data will be consistent? No, they cannot maintain your data in a correct way. So it is very important to submit your details in a very correct way or accurate way. Then only they will be able to operate your account in a successful way. So that is another advantage of DBMS. Next advantage of DBMS is data security. So students, if we deal with, let's talk about traditional file system. If we are dealing with traditional file system, then we cannot log the files, we cannot hide the files from anyone, and we cannot even hide the data, and we cannot even prevent or protect our data from the modifications or updations. So how it is possible? It is possible with the help of DBMS. So data security is vital concept in a database. So how we can secure our data? We can provide usernames and passwords, and again we can provide access to different users according to their jobs and according to their needs. For example, if we have a database of result and fees, and we have to show that database to a student, so we cannot give any access to the student to modify the data. So this is how we can protect our data by using the concept of DBMS, and we can allow only authorized users to access the data, to update the data. So that is how database is very important in terms of data security. Next, let's talk about next advantage of DBMS, that is privacy. Again, it is related to the security and the privacy. So what is privacy? Privacy rule in a database means only the authorized users can access the database according to their constraints. So we can apply different types of constraints, that what type of access is given to what type of users. And even there are different levels in a database to access the database and to view the database. For example, we have a database with the fees records as well as marks records as well as attendance record, but we want to represent database to the student with only marks record. We want to hide their fees record and we want to hide their attendance record. So we can simply hide it by just applying the constraints. So this is how we can apply constraints to the database. So I want to discuss one real life example of constraint here also. For example, when you fill any online form and for example, you have to type phone number in the given form. So when you type phone number, sometimes they have applied the constraint that you cannot type more than 10 words and you cannot type any alphabet. You can type only numeric numbers. So what is this? This is just because of constraints. This is just because of they have applied constraints on the database. So you can type only according to the given constraints. So there are also here I want to discuss one more example in social networking sites. When you access any social network site, access constraints are different for different accounts and for different users. So this is how DBMS is very important in terms of security and privacy. So the last advantage of DBMS is backup and recovery. So if we deal with traditional file system, we are not able to back up the data and to recover the data once it is lost. So but in terms of DBMS, and if we are dealing with database, it is possible to recover the data and to back up the data. So even many of the organizations make use of automatically backing and recovery system to avoid any type of risk. So management systems automatically take care of backup and recovery. and the user do not need to back up data periodically because it is taken care by the DBMS. Even nowadays many of the softwares are available. Even if you let's talk about WhatsApp, if even if we talk about WhatsApp, we can apply different type of constraints, and we can set security or privacy methods according to our own choice, that whether we want to recover the data on a weekly basis, monthly basis, or if we do not wish to recover, we can choose another option. So it is up to the user. So different softwares are also available. User just have to make use of that software. They just have to set the time, then data automatically backup and recovered with these softwares. So it also restores the database after a crash or a failure of a system. So it is very important that we have this facility nowadays, that we can retrieve the data again if we have lost it accidentally. So these all are the advantages of system. So this is the reason that nowadays why we all are using these techniques. Even nowadays every industry is making using of these techniques, just because of these advantages. So that's why they are using DBMS. Now let's start with next topic of this unit, that is data types in DBMS. So first of all, you have to understand that what is data type. Now what is data type? Data type is whenever we have to enter any data in the DBMS, what is the type of the data? Type of the data means whether we can enter numeric data, whether we have to enter numeric data or some other data. So different data types are available. Even when we deal with any of the language, every language has its own data types to write the data, to type the data, and to understand the data, because every language has compilers and interpreters to understand the language, so they can understand only their own data type. So similarly in DBMS, different data types are available which allow us to enter different type of data. So let's talk about different data types in DBMS. So this is a very detailed topic, but here in your syllabus only 4 data types are in your syllabus. So I will discuss only these 4 data types. So the very first data type is text. When you have to type text in DBMS, in terms of text, you can enter char and varchar. We have 2 data types, char and varchar. Now what is the difference between char and varchar? So char is character data type. When, for example, you have to type any you have to type name of a person like Rahul. So Rahul is the name of the person, so you have to type RAHUL. So these all are the characters. So if you have to this type of data, you have to consider the data type, or you have to mention the data type with the char data type. Next type of data type is varchar. Varchar is extension of char data type. Varchar is VAR, stands for variable characters. So how we can add variable characters means, char is very specific with the fixed numbers. For example, if I have mentioned that I have to enter 4 characters, then I can enter only 4 characters. Varchar is, it provides facility of variability. It provides facility of that we can enter variable numbers, or we can make variable length varies. For example, if I have given the length of the string as 10, so it is my choice that whether I can enter a string with 10 length and a string, or a string with less than 10 length. I can enter 4 characters, 2 characters, 7 characters, but I cannot enter more than 10 characters. So this is the difference between char and varchar. Char means fixed length, whereas varchar means variable length. Now the next data type is numeric data type. Numeric means if we have to enter numeric data. Numeric data as in like 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and this type of data. So here we have 2 types of data we can enter, decimal and integer. So what is decimal? Decimal is it can represent numbers with or without the fractional part. So if we have to write any number with decimal or without decimal part, we can make use of decimal data type. For example, if we choose decimal as a data type, we can enter 2 as well as 2.5. But if we choose data type integer, int stands for int stands for integer. If we choose data type as int, then we cannot enter any fractional value or any decimal value. So for example, I want to write number 2 only. So I have to choose a data type as integer 2. If I want to write 2.5, I cannot write 2.5 with integer data type because it deals with only integer values. So the next data type is date data type. Date data type deals with date type. Whenever we have to write any date, so we have to follow date data type. Different formats are available in date, like date, month, year. In terms of month, some formats allow 2 words and some allow, in case of years, some allows 2 characters or text, even some allows 4 numbers. So it is according to it holds the date including day, month and year according to different formats. Next, last data type is time data type. So time data type is it holds the time format. Whenever you have to write time, you have to follow this data type, that is time, and it follows the format as HH, MM, SS, hours, minutes and seconds. So students, with this we have completed advantages and data types in DBMS. So that's all for today. Tomorrow we will move to next topic of this unit. So here you have to study all the advantages. It is very easy topic. You just have to understand the concepts, then you can write the definitions and all according to your choice. So here we have studied advantages of DBMS, where we have studied reduce data redundancy, that is reduce data duplicacy, sharing of data, data integrity, data security, privacy, backup and recovery. And after that we have studied data types in DBMS. So that's all for today.